One Joe 245 here. Today we're taking a look at the Uncanny X-Men, so stay tuned. So now I don't have all the figures for the Uncanny X-Men. I actually have a few of them here, but I'm going over the very first ones released, and I am missing quite a few. But these are the ones I do have, and I'm missing let's see, Storm, Nightcrawler, Colossus, Archangel. I think that's the X-Men characters I'm missing, and I'm for the evil mutants I'm missing Apocalypse. I think that's the only three they made in the first line. I could be wrong, but these are the four I have. I have two X-Men and two evil mutants, so that actually kind of evens it out here a little bit. But I have actually more Toy-Biz X-Men figures, but I'm not going to show those because those were later figures, and I'm only focusing on the very first line right here. So I'm going to start out with the two on the sides and the two made in the middle. So let's get started. So we're starting with Cyclops here, and now Cyclops did come with an accessory. Unfortunately, I don't have it. It was a Cerebro-like computer thing that attached to his arms right here, and which I didn't really understand the point of, which I probably wouldn't have used it anyway. So it made that big of a deal. But now he does it. His articulation is a little bit different from the other figures, saying that his action feature kind of hinders his head articulation. You see there's a lever on his back here which you pull down, and when you do, it simulates his optic blast, as you can see. So that cuts off his head articulations because of the wires and stuff. Now, a lot of times when you find these, the light can burn out pretty quickly, or the batteries can die. So a lot of times you find these, it doesn't work anymore, and there's no way to replace the batteries too once they're dead. So I wouldn't recommend just on and off with this if you got one that does work still like mine. But yeah, that's pretty cool though. But you see he's wearing his X Factor uniform, as you can see, and these were actually pretty, had a pretty good sculpted detail for the time. As you can see, he's got the yellow visor for his, optic blast. Mine's got a little bit of paint chipping on his chin right there. But as you can see, it's mostly blue with the white X, on the uniform. As you can see, he's got white gloves and white boots. Mine's, the legs are a little bit warped. It's supposed to be standing straight like that, but mine's kind of warped in, so it creates kind of a standing problem for this figure. So his articulation, since he doesn't have any head articulation, but he does have swivel at the shoulder, a single hinge at the elbow, swivel at his thigh, and a single hinge at the knee. Now, I did say I was going to start with the outer two first, but since I started with the X-Men first, I figured, let's go to Wolverine. Now, this figure is one of my favorites, and it took me forever to find one, for a good price that was complete, and which this one is incomplete. It's actually missing an accessory. I'll explain in just a minute, but I was looking at the thrift store and I actually seen two of these in a bag. One of them, the mask was gone, and then the other one I looked at still had his mask on, so I immediately grabbed that one because that was actually pretty rare find to find in a thrift store. Because usually with thrift store stuff, it's never with the figure, so that's just the way it works. But see, the mask does look a little bit funny looking, and the reason for that is, let me stand him off the back here, is it's supposed to double as a ring, as you can see. Now this is meant to go like on a kid's finger. I have pretty big fingers, so it's not gonna go all the way down without getting stuck, and so because it is like a kid size ring, as you can see. But that's actually kind of cool though. But you see the mask looks supposed to look like his standard, his classic mask, as you can see. But it does look kind of funny on the figure, and which I always preferred him without the mask. It looks a little more natural. But as you can see, he's got the classic Wolverine style hair and the pork chops, and his articulation is hindered a little bit too because his action feature. I'll show you in here in just a second. But as you can see, he does actually, I think, share legs with Magneto, I believe. As you can see, they're very similar, so it could possibly be the same upper leg. I'm not 100% for sure. But as you can see, he's got his red gloves and his claws, and his boots are very classic Wolverine style boots. And as you can see, they got pretty cool detail. They actually go up over the legs, so that's actually a pretty nice detail. Now his action feature is in his arms here. As you can see, you can retract the claws back into a retracted position, this is very similar to early Star Wars figures where had the telescoping lightsaber, as you can see. But the way this works is you take, once you release the claw, it's supposed to pop out like it does in the comic books and the movies. Which this one doesn't work. There you go. This other one wants to get stuck, but that's a pretty cool action figure. I always had fun with it. It was always really fun to recreate his how he pops his claws out and stuff. But unfortunately that does hinder his arm articulation. But unlike Cyclops, he does have an articulated head, as you can see. But he's got swivel at his shoulders there. So his elbow articulation is hindered by his action feature. He's got articulation at his thighs there, and also the same bend at the knee. Now Juggernaut, I actually found this figure at a flea market a long time ago when something was pretty cheap. That's why I ended up getting it. Because this wasn't a figure I was actually just hunting down trying to get it. I just happened to find it for a good price and I just bought it. But now Juggernaut is actually a pretty decent looking figure if you're looking at him from the front. It's when you turn him to the side, he's kind of flat, as you can see. And he came with an accessory that mounted on his shoulders. It was like a battering ram, which I didn't understand the point of. Now, unfortunately, this was in a flea market. I don't have it, but it doesn't matter because I don't understand the point of him having a battering ram, because he's supposed to be a human battering ram, so he's supposed to just be able to run through things himself. That's why he's got like the metal helmet and everything else. Now he does have wheels in the bottom of his feet, which I think is supposed to be so you can recreate him, getting a momentum and fixing to, run into something. So I think that's what that was intended for. But now his articulation is very minimal compared to other figures in this line. He has no head articulation whatsoever, which is probably because of the big helmet on his head. But he's got a arm swivel there, which clicks because of the button on his back, as you can see, because it's got an action feature. And also he's got just a hinge at the or swivel, I should say, at his thighs there. No knee articulation whatsoever. I don't know why they didn't put any knee articulation. There's no action feature on his legs to really hinder the knee articulation. I mean, he's got the wheels on the bottom of his feet, but I mean, they shouldn't hinder his knees, you wouldn't think. Now, he's got a lever on his back too, which you can use to do his arms, which is very similar to Cyclops, except this is not like a electronic feature. This is just his arms, which is it's pretty fun to do actually. But this figure was kind of I feel like this one they kind of cut costs back a little bit by not adding articulations where they could have, and just being a very flat looking figure, but still I actually like this figure. Now we come to my favorite of these figures, which is Magneto. Which this one I actually got complete. It's actually have the card too, but the card is in storage somewhere. I don't know exactly where it's at, but because I couldn't fit it in here with the box I keep these in, so it's in something else. I didn't have time to look for it, but I do have all the accessories this figure came with, and which this cape is actually removable, and it's got like a C-clamp thing that goes around his neck, kind of like how Robin and then the DC Universe figures did. And which this cape is a very easily lost accessory, and just clips on his neck like so. And as you can see, his helmet looks gigantic on his head. It looks like a big giant bucket. And it is removable, which is a pretty nice touch for a Magneto figure. Later Magnetos they made didn't have this feature, which is kind of a shame. That's a cool touch to have a removable helmet on a Magneto. But if you remove the helmet, you can see he's an older gentleman with white hair and eyebrows, which Magneto is mostly represented as an old guy. But in new media, they do show younger Magneto. But this is his comic book outfit, and as you can see, like I said, with the legs, the upper part of the legs is very similar to Wolverine. It could be the same, like I said, but I'm not 100% for sure because Wolverine is actually shorter, as you can see. They try to keep these figures in scale with each other, which is actually pretty cool, because Wolverine was always short in the comics. But as you can see, the back, it's not much back there. There's always information on the back of the legs right there. And now Magneto is the only figure. Let me move his cape out of the way so I can do articulation. Magneto is the only figure in this line that his action feature doesn't actually hinder his articulation. So he's got his swivel at the head there, a swivel at the shoulder and at the elbow, a swivel at the thigh, and the bend at the knee. So that's pretty good. We get all the articulation, plus the action features. I'm going to put his cape and his helmet back on to, complete the look there. And now his action feature, the way it works is, you got these pieces of space junk back here, and he's got magnets in his hands and his chest there. So you can put these pieces onto him like so, and he's supposed to be able to hold the pieces of space junk. And so as you can see, it kind of fits with his power actually. Now, I don't remember him ever sticking pieces of junk to himself like that, but it's a pretty cool way to actually do his power. And but you could probably stick this thing to the refrigerator if you wanted to. But so I always thought that was fun as a kid. I do remove pieces of space junk out of the way so I can. Okay, so let me get him standing up here in the background. Okay, where did I put him? Oh, there he is. I do, however, actually have a 12-inch Marvel Legends Icons Magneto. If I can get him standing up. Now, it's hard to see because... So, as you can see, that is the Marvel Legends Icons Magneto, which is a big 12-inch figure, which I might do a review on. But it's going to be hard because 12-inch figures are big, and it's hard to not exceed the batteries on my review station here. So I might have to figure something out to kind of boost my back up a little bit, so it won't see stuff back here. It won't disrupt the whole image. Let me put this back down here. There we go. So as you can see, I'm still basic, same costume, but a lot better details on the other one, a lot better articulation. But that vintage one I still really like though. I mean, it's just really cool. As you can see here, later on, Toy-Biz would go on to make, better figures with better articulation, with action features that did hinder articulation, and, which some of those were cool. As you can see here, there's the Tiger Stripe outfit Wolverine, which is actually the most, thought of outfit for Wolverine than the classic look over here. But I think I actually prefer the classic look to the Wolverine. But, still, I prefer the earlier ones with the weird action features. It's just more what I think of when I think of these, old Toy-Biz X-Men figures. What do I think of these figures overall? I really do like these figures. Now, some things about these figures I don't like is I don't like how some of the action features hinder articulation. That's a little bit on the annoying side. But other than that, though, I mean, they're pretty good toys. Now, Juggernaut too. Another thing about him, I felt like Juggernaut they kind of cheaped out a little bit with not adding articulation to his knees, which they could have, and giving it an accessory that was, really not, needed since his character was a human battering ram. So, but still, enjoyable figure, and I really had a lot of good memories with these in my childhood. So, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up there, help me out. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Till next time. So we're going to start with Colossus first here. Not